home anyway. So.
Good, good. Good afternoon, guys. Like I'm, big and and I'm sitting on something, but I'm not. I'm on my sofa. But there you go. Anyway, good afternoon, guys, and everyone who's listening on radio and on podcast. Thank you and welcome. Now, what do we call you, Veronique, or what's your proper name?
My proper name is Veronique, like Veronica, but the French version.
Veronique. Veronique.
Yes.
What a name. What a name. That's a really good, nice name. Veronique. Yeah, Veronique.
Yeah. Well, I live in Asia, so everybody calls me V because it's too much of a mouthful.
Right. Can I call you Val?
I prefer you call me V.
I'll call you V then. Is that all right? I'll call you V. Okay. So, hello, hello V. So, um, tell everybody about yourself. Um, go on.
God. Okay. Let's see. So Veronique, I'm from France. I moved to Hong Kong in 1993, and I've now been in Asia for half of my life. I was in Hong Kong for many years, and then had a little stint in Singapore where my son was born. He's now 17, and I've been blessed to be in Bali for the past 6.5 years. I also had a bit of a change in career. Like 20 years ago, I was a fund manager in quite a successful one at that, and I was absolutely miserable. Really, I was sad, and I actually walked into the therapist one day and I said to her, "Listen, I used to be happy all the time. I want it back." She laughed at me, and it took a few years to kind of put me back together, Humpty Dumpty style, and I ended up quitting the finance world and becoming a fund manager. Becoming a life coach and a trainer, and that's kind of what I still do now.
Great. That is really really good. And also, because you're now a kind of what you're just kind of like a coach now, aren't you?
Yeah, a sort of version of coach. Yes, I chose to call myself a life catalyst because I help people by giving them words, but they do all the work.
Great, great. And what kind of clients do you get coming to you?
It's very varied, actually. I've worked with C-suite executives, as they call it, corner office and all. Lots of people from the finance industry, of course, because I understand where they're coming from. And with youngsters, couple of people, kids that were still starting university, actually. All, it's very across the board. So a gentleman, one of my clients is in Australia, is a gentleman who started a couple of multi-million-dollar businesses. And then on the other side, I do also pro bono work. So I have, as I say, students or people that are looking for a new job, or people that are dealing with anxieties and all sorts of other things. I also, because I use a number of techniques. Some of them could be called therapeutic, such as emotional freedom technique. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. Some people call it
No, no.
tapping.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. So emotional freedom technique is also called tapping. And I describe this as acupuncture without needles for emotions. So you follow the meridians of energy like an acupuncturist would, but instead of using needles, you tap really, really gently. And it's just a set of points, but it's incredibly powerful to help people relieve stresses, fear, phobias. It's even worse than fears, right? And anything that's holding them back. And it even works for physical things. So, for instance, you can use it to improve the performance. A lot of sports teams use it to improve their performance. So it's a great technique. It's really quick to learn, and what I love about it is that people don't need me to use it.
right? And when sports teams go to you, because there could be like 5 or up to 11, or sometimes bigger than that. Do you get them into groups, or do you work with them individually?
It depends. So I've worked with people in groups, and it's actually quite powerful. And then if there is a need for one-on-one sessions, I'll do one-on-one sessions as well.
Right. And tell us, so if a group came to you,
Mhm.
and tell us the process, what you do.
In the case of specifically performance with something like EFT for, say, a sports team, as you said, numbers that you gave me tell me that you're a football fan, not a rugby fan, because that would be 15.
Right.
So I grew up a rugby fan. So,
All
um,
right.
but we can. So for instance, I'll take a very, very simple example. Um, it works really well for flexibility, which is really a strength thing, right? So very often I'll have a group test their flexibility first. So lean forward, see how far down you can reach, right? Can you touch your toes? Can you touch your knee? Wherever you're at. And then we will do together a couple of rounds of tapping on becoming more flexible, and then test again. And in general, people will have gained anywhere from 10 centimeters to 15 on average in terms of how far down they can go. You can also work it out the other way. I'm prone to migraines, and I have to say that tapping really helps relieve the migraines. And it just depends on what you focus on, right? So sometimes there are some people who have very specific issues that they don't want to share with others. Then they'll work with me directly. I like to kind of liken these issues are like how would you put this? They're like a ball of yarn that the cat's been playing with. And so there's lots of knots in it, right? And our job together is to kind of unwind the yarn so anybody can make something beautiful with it. So sometimes you get a knot that is tighter than other times. And when it's really tight, it's good to have a one-on-one session about it.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Really good. And
Yeah.
does that does that go to the same for people who's on their own or individually?
It's you could use this technique in any case, and there are some times where there's interpersonal things. One of the things that's great when you do it as a group is that sometimes you end up tapping on somebody else's problem. That's really not your problem, and you still end up with benefits. So we call that borrowing benefits. So you still get to benefit from helping somebody else, because there's a section of medicine they're actually testing that as well, but it's energy medicine, and it's all the meridians of energy that work with acupuncture. It's all about energy, right? And it actually works from one person to the other, even when it's not your issue directly.
Right. Okay.
We do
Um.
that. I used to do that. Sorry, I used to do that for food. For instance, when we taught, I taught groups how to tap, and we would do it on a specific food addiction. Like, for instance, I cannot resist croissants. That's the French side in me, right? And if we all tap together on the croissant, somebody else might not be completely focused on the croissant, but they probably will find themselves not wanting them afterwards either.
Okay. Great. That is brilliant. And so part of your, how long have you been doing this now?
I have been a coach for 20 years, and for EFT specifically, which is one of the techniques that I give to my clients, about 15. I
Right.
have to calculate that with regards to my son's age. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's one of the tools and techniques that I use with my clients. It's just there's a number of them, but this one is really great because there is no need for, well, there's less need for me to apply it. Once the person knows how to tap and it's a set of points, they can just go ahead and do it as many times as they want.
Right. Okay. And how do people contact you, and what do they need to do? Do you charge, and what is the process to get some help from you?
So I actually have a Facebook page, yournextwave.life, or directly on my personal name, Veronique Ficheux, on Facebook. And that's probably the easiest way to get hold of me. And generally, I will have a short conversation with the person to see whether it's in the realm of what I can do to help. And I may make some suggestion as to what sort of things can be done, or what sort of person you need to speak to that maybe I don't do. So but I am very, very blessed because I've been working with a very tall gentleman called Tony Robbins for many, many years. So I actually know a lot of other people that can help as well. So if it's not up my alley, I can usually make a suggestion or two about other people that could help.
Right. Okay. And also, when how so do you have an email address?
Yes. So just Veronique.Ficheux,
Right.
which is my name, just as you wrote here, at gmail.com. That's the simplest way, and this is the one that I don't run a risk of losing. So I just went with that.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. And do you have a website?
Not yet.
Not
But
yet.
a lot of the work I do come via word of mouth. So I haven't really tried very hard to have a website. I'm fairly busy anyway, so that's just how I do it.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me today. That's been
You are
really
so
great. Great.
welcome.
And thank you. And I'll be in touch soon. And very soon, and we can kind of like chat some more. But thank
Yeah,
you very much.
absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Thank you. Bless you. Bye bye.
Bye.